The next class is a great class, high-end Packard motor cars. Come right up here, sir. Bring it right up to me.
So just a little background on Packard before Ron tells us about this car or introduces this car. Packard was started in 1899 in Warren, Ohio, after James Ward Packard had a bad experience with a Winton automobile. 1915, they introduced the 12-cylinder twin six, and by the 1920s, they pretty much owned the luxury car market in the United States and, for that matter, globally. 1935, they went into the medium price market to survive the Depression. Ultimately, that hurt their brand significantly. After World War II, they merged with Studebaker, which proved to not be the best move on their part, and passed away in 1958. So Ron, let's hear about this car from the owner.
All right, it's a 1929 Packard 633 Roadster, and it's owned by Tim Schaefer from South Lyon. So Tim, you heard the man. Tell us about your car.
We've had it since 2018, and a lot of work just to get it run right.
That's beautiful. Did you do all the mechanicals yourself? You did?
Yeah.
Well,
So in 1929, Packard had gone to an exclusively 8-cylinder lineup. This one had a 320 cubic inch, 90 horsepower, straight 8, 9-main bearing. It was a very good year for Packard. They went to 55,000 units, which proved to be their volume record until 1937.
thank you for bringing it, folks.
Worth $1.5 million.
I bet.
Couldn't afford that. I got a Kaiser, 51 Kaiser that he had to give away.
Okay, let's see what we have here. That a girl, that's another Packard, a 31 463. It says chassis is 826 sedan. So it's owned by Carol and Calvin Chen out of Westland, Michigan. Tell us about the history of this one, guys.
So the 31 model year was not great for Packard, principally due to the Depression. Their volume had gone down to 15,000 units, which was obviously a sharp decline from 2 years before. The 826 was their lead-in offering that year, but still a full luxury car, and a disproportionate number of the cars sold that year were 826s because of the affordability concerns of the Depression.
Over here to see Ronnie Pitchko.
Stevie Burke, good Lord. I've known Steve since grade school, but we won't tell him how long ago that was. Steve and Barb, it's really nice that you brought your car. It's a 1936 Packard 1401 sedan. Steve's an old Ypsilanti guy. We both went to St. John's Catholic School together and probably both had our knuckles rapped a few times by the nuns. Tell us about the car.
So Packard introduced their cars by series. By 1935, they had the 12th series. They were superstitious, so in 1936, they skipped the 13th series and went right to the 14th series. This is a 1936 8 on a 134-inch wheelbase. It uses a 320 cubic inch straight 8 rated at 130 horsepower. This particular car is number 93 of 100 built. It was sold new in Philadelphia, and there's rumors that it may have been owned by Betty Davis at one time. He came to Michigan in the mid-1990s and was a recent purchase by this family.
Thanks, Stevie. Thanks, Barb. Good seeing you. Bring it up here, sir. That car's absolutely gorgeous. I want everybody to get a good look. That's good. Stop it right there. Let me see your window card. That's what we want. This is a 1937 Packard 1501 Dietrich Victoria, and it's owned by Danny Humrick and from Rochester Hills, Michigan. How long have you owned this car, Dan? 88. Did you have to do a lot of work to it when you bought it?
Family restoration took 22 years. My mom, my dad, and my son and I.
You guys did a fabulous job because it's drop dead gorgeous. Tell the crowd about it, guys.
So Packard introduced medium-priced cars in 1935 with the 120 and in 1937 with the Packard 6. This is a senior 1937. out of the 15 series. The seniors had significant upgrades this year. Independent front suspension, hydraulic brakes. This particular car is on a 134-inch wheelbase, also uses the 320 straight 8. This is one of 2 examples known. It was originally ordered by Broadway Motor Sales in Chicago. It's a semi-custom body by Murray Corporation, and it was a 22-year restoration as a family project.
Thank you for bringing it. It's beautiful. Come on up here, folks. Come on. We want all the people in the bleachers to get a good look. That's good right there. Let me see your window card. Okay, a 1941 Packard 120 convertible owned by Dave Schneider of West Bloomfield. Dave, how long have you owned this car?
About 25 years.
Got a lot of work.
It looked like this when I bought it, but I needed a lot of mechanical work.
Tell us about the car, guys.
So by 1941, Packard was pretty firmly entrenched in the medium price market with their 6 and 8 cylinder cars. This was their 8-cylinder junior car, the 120, and by this time the body was getting to be a bit obsolete in terms of the narrowness of the cowl width. As a consequence, mid-year they came out with a 41 Clipper. However, they did a major upgrade on the appearance this year to this body with recessed headlights for the first time, the catwalk grills, and the extremely long hood length, now encompassing all the way to the radiator grille. The car did fairly well. They were playing with their series lineup, and this time they had deluxes and standard versions of junior 6s and 8s. In this particular year, there were no more deluxe 120s, but as you can see, even the standard 120 was quite a well-trimmed vehicle.
Thank you for bringing it, sir. A 53 Packard. My neighbor lady had one of these. The Sportster model. I need to see your window placard, ma'am. That's what I need. Yep, that's what we want. This is a 1953 Packard Clipper Sportster 2-door sedan owned by Leonard Gregory of Lambertville, Michigan. How long have you owned this car, Len? 27 years. Did it come this way when you bought it, or did you do a lot of the work?
It was in pretty good shape. I had to have some things done to it, and the engine is still basically the same. I had it rewired and obviously a new exhaust system put on it. So.
Well, it's beautiful. Tell the crowd about it, guys.
So Packard had introduced their last all-new car in 1951. It was called the Contour Styling Car. It was the first car in the industry that had the hood down at the level of the front fenders, had 4-corner visibility, and was a pretty advanced body for that time. This is a 1953 version of it, which was a mid-cycle update, if you will, to the basic 51 body. And at this particular time, hardtops were becoming very popular, and Packard had a product lineup which at that time only had one hardtop. So they took the 2-door sedan body and introduced something they called the Sportster, of which this is the example. While it's a 2-door sedan, it has the interior from the 2-door hardtop. It came standard with 2-tone paint, additional trim on the B-pillar, and what actually proved to be very successful for Packard. It was offered in both 53 and in 1954.
Go ahead and pull it ahead for me, sir. You can pull on up. You in the red convertible, pull up closer. Come on. Get her up here. Okay, we got a 1954, stop. We got a 1954 Packard C Convertible. It's owned by Keith Hensley. And Keith, you're from Farmington Hills. How long have you owned this car?
Just over 30 years.
30 years. Did you do all the work on this?
Yes. Everything. Originally I did, yes.
No kidding. Well, you did a beautiful job. Guys, what's the history on this one?
So Packard had introduced their convertible and hardtop back in 1951 on this body at mid-year 51. And the car originally was positioned as sort of a junior, sort of a senior Packard. and it was a bit of a schizophrenic positioning in the 1951 to 53 model years. For 54, they made it a full senior. The side trim was the same as the senior Cavalier sedan. It used the new 359 212 horse straight 8, which was the last straight 8 produced by Packard this year. Very well-trimmed car. They built 863 of them, and this is a particularly nice example.
What would this car weigh, Dad, when it was new? I mean, what was the weight limit on that car?
It was about 4,200 pounds. Surprisingly, there's a lot of air inside the car for the bulk. Not an excessively heavy car, but a very solidly built car.
I should say. Thank you for bringing it. Bring yours up a little bit for me, Randy. Come on, bring it up. Right here. That's good. Stop right there. This car is owned by Randy Burns. It's a 55 Clipper Super Panama two-door. And I know Randy. Randy, when he bought this car, just kind of got lucky. He had what model Mustang? It was a Shelby Mustang. 68 GT 350. And some guy said, hey, I want that car. What'll you take for it? And as soon as the transaction was made, Randy went right out and bought this one. So tell us about it.
So 1955 was quite a year for Packard. They had gotten behind the 8-ball in terms of a lack of a V8 engine and relatively dated styling. So in 1955, they introduced a new V8, a new automatic, a major change to the body. And unfortunately, they also decided to move their production from East Grand Boulevard to Conner Avenue in Detroit. Essentially, they just tried to do too much at one time, and these cars, while technically brilliant and very well styled, proved to be very poor quality vehicles for the first part of the model year. They eventually corrected those issues, but it had really damaged Packard's reputation, which had bad ramifications in the following year. This particular model is powered by a 320 cubic inch V8, 225 horsepower on 122 inch wheelbase, and they built 7,000 out of this model out of a total of 55,000 for this model year.
Come on, bring that Studebaker up here. We don't bite, we're friendly in this group. That's good, right there. Let me see your window card, if I may. It does say Packard. How about that? 1958 Packard 58L sedan. Andrew Kircher from Port Huron. Did you drive it on the freeway or did you trailer it?
I did.
You drove it. God love you. Tell us about this car.
So in 1954, Packard had purchased Studebaker Corporation. Most people said it was a merger, but technically it was an acquisition by Packard of Studebaker. The problems I mentioned with the 55 Packard led to severe sales issues in 1956, and the corporation decided to consolidate all production for 1957 in South Bend using Studebaker bodies, chassis, and engines. That lasted for Packard until 1958, of which this car is an example. They added fins, added the very low-slung front-end styling theme, and they built 1,200 examples of this particular car. The last Packard was built in July of '58.
Thank you for bringing it.